Hello and welcome back to the WGL APAC Season 1. We're into week number 8 and this is our second match of today and it's going to be a good one, I think. Last match, obviously, EL Gaming 5-0ing team efficiency, but this one, in my mind, is definitely going to be much closer.
Absolutely, Jordan, I think so, because of course we have got Meltdown and B Gaming playing, and they're up the top of the ladder, right? Yep. So we have seen them, do battle before. I think last time they did, it was 5-4 to Meltdown. I am expecting something quite similar to that, because of course Meltdown, let's not forget, they took Team Coalition Zoo to a tiebreaker in their earlier match this week. So, when Meltdown are on that kind of form, I definitely think B Gaming's going to have a really good chance of taking this one out. So what we're in for is a very close game.
Yeah, exactly. I sort of tend to see the same sort of a train of thought as you do here. Meltdown, obviously have got that higher placing in the standings, but both teams, out of their last 5 matches, have won 3. In saying that, though, I think Meltdown's form in general, even though they've been getting those wins, hasn't been quite as good. They've been taken to the 5-4 by Coalition 2, and some of the other results that they've had have been a little bit shaky. They've been taken to a lot of maps by teams where you'd have to say you would think they should be able to close it out a little bit earlier. So in my mind, I think B Gaming actually coming into this one with maybe a little bit of an advantage. I'm going to lean towards a 5-4 for B Gaming, but like I said, I mean, it's so close here that it's really hard to call.
Very, very hard to call. Look, I am going to say that honestly, I think Meltdown might just pull through in the end. It's either going to be a 5-4 or a 5-3. Let's say 5-3, just for the sake of it, be a bit different. But I suppose we'll have to wait and see what Meltdown can do. Of course, Meltdown's lineup as well. They are a team filled with stars from Valiant to Vice Tone, of course, Mr. Batchat, as we call him. And God SP, of course, their captain as well. Pang Pang, we saw Pang Pang make some huge plays last week. But definitely expect Valiant and Vice Tone, our usual top 2, to be up to their usual good tanking selves.
I think the map's going to come in some degree of importance here throughout this matchup, because both teams tend to favour different maps, with the exception of Steps, which they both like. They're not terribly similar in terms of their map picks. So I think we'll have to see how those map pools play out. But definitely that's going to be a crucial part of this matchup, in my opinion.
Critical part of this matchup, I think. And, of course, taking a look at B Gaming's lineup, they do seem to be a team that does favour a lot of maps as well, because we can see there Tacky and Til Matil. There's some of the guys to look out for. Til, you can put him on a tank on any map and he'll do well. Utori made some big plays last week, I think, and 7mm their captain as well. And B Gaming, we can see here, they do have a very large lineup, so they've got a lot of kind of backups. We do see Lod play from time to time. We've seen Tomato JP play here and there as well. So a very kind of well-rounded team in terms of tankers.
And definitely for me, B Gaming were one of the teams when we started off watching this season of WGL APAC where I thought I was like, okay, they're an okay team, but they're never going to be reaching, the top 4 sort of situation. But now, I mean, all of a sudden, in the last probably 3 or 4 weeks, I think they've really, really started to get underway, and suddenly all of finding themselves in 3rd position here, and definitely pushing for that 2nd position as well. So, if someone had told me they'd be in this position at this point in time, a few weeks ago, I'd have been thinking, okay, fair enough, not so sure about that, but okay. But now they're here.
Now they're here. Exactly. So they're here, and they are here to win, I think. And look, if they get themselves on towards just taking a look at some of their top maps, of course, we do have Mines. B Gaming are the kings on Mines. They have, almost a 90% win rate on it, thereabouts. And that's after playing EL Gaming on it multiple times. They won their games on Mines against EL Gaming just on this last week.
Well, they won 2 of them. The tiebreaker map was Mines, and they actually lost it against EL.
So of course, the tiebreaker.
Overall against EL Gaming on Mines, they're a 4-1 record in B Gaming's favour. But unfortunately, they weren't able to pick it up when it really mattered, right?
Really mattered, yeah.
So it's a little unfortunate.
Yeah.
But in general, their Mines play is phenomenal. And luckily, I think, or maybe smartly here for Meltdown, they've decided to ban it out. And unfortunately for B Gaming, there's not going to be Mines coming out in the pool.
There you go. Here's a little bit disappointing. Oh, well. Win some, you lose some. So B Gaming will have to find other ways, like Steps and Himmelsdorf, to kind of take Meltdown out on, I
Yeah.
guess. But, I mean, taking a look at B Gaming's worst map, probably Muravanka, you would say?
Yes, I think that'd be fair to say. I mean, they don't like to play it. They do like to veto it quite a lot. The times that we have seen them play it, they haven't actually won it. And Meltdown have consequently decided to pick it as their first pick for today. And now, I got to say, I used to think that Meltdown was looking like one of the better teams in the region on Muravanka, but in
They're
the
not
last
crash
couple of
hot.
weeks, it has really come crashing down. They've lost quite convincingly a couple of times to teams which you would think they should be beating. So, yes, they picked it here, Muravanka, Meltdown. That's the first map of today, and it is a poor map for B Gaming. But, I can't, in good faith, say I think Meltdown is going to 2-0 this, just because we've seen them, for some reason, they've been having so many struggles on it.
Yeah. Look, I honestly think it's about time that B Gaming actually win a map on Muravanka. They've got 0% so far, so I really think they deserve to win one here. So I think my picks leading in towards Murav is going to be 1-1.
Yeah, I think I'm leaning in that direction as well. It's not necessarily because I think B Gaming will actually pick up one. I think it's because I think Meltdown is going to let one slip. It just, to me, feels like the form that Meltdown is in, that they will inevitably do something a little bit silly here on Muravanka and really allow allow B Gaming into it. So for that one, I think maybe a 1-1. I mean, I wouldn't be particularly surprised to see Muravanka go 2-0 in Meltdown's favour, but I'm going to say 1-1 nonetheless. Steps coming out there from B Gaming. Like I said earlier, that's a map that both of these teams really like to find themselves on.
Steps, yeah, exactly. I mean, we've seen B Gaming do so well on steps so far in the past, and Meltdown as well. I mean, no strangers to it. I think Meltdown we've seen pick some interesting takes on steps before, like artilleries occasionally, something like that. I think in the recent past, but B Gaming, of course, know how to deal with that. They know how to deal with anything thrown at them on steps, because, like you said, they are fairly confident in it. So I think that one again could be, maybe a 1-1.
I'm thinking a 1-1, right? Because both these teams are very good on the defensive side of steps, statistically speaking, and they're not bad, obviously, on the attack, but they're not as good on the attack. So I think maybe both sides will pick up their defensive side here on steps. Moving on then to Himmelsdorf.
Himmelsdorf, you see, now that's a funny one, because early on in the season, Meltdown looked like, one of the teams to beat on Himmelsdorf, but now they've only got a 43% win rate on it.
Yeah, definitely struggling on it at the moment, but similar, B Gaming not so comfortable on it. Still, going to head into our first map of today. It is going to be Muravanka. We've both said 1-1 here for this one. What do you think after looking at the tank
Well, you see,
picks?
I love those tank picks from B Gaming. They've got the 113s, nice, bulky, kind of still quite mobile, heavy tank there. A good gun, good alpha damage. They've got that T57 heavy, which I love. Crazy DPM on that one. That DPM, of course, stands for damage per minute, for those of you out there who may not be quite familiar with the lingo we use. But on the other side, Meltdown. They've got the FE215B, IS4, It's not a very mobile lineup for Muravanka.
Yeah. In saying that, I mean, Meltdown is on the defense, right? So they don't necessarily have to be moving around all that much. If they put themselves in the right positions, they can actually cover off both of those flags with reasonable ease, to start off with.
Well, I guess we'll have to see. So, to start off with, we are going to be seeing Meltdown heading out towards a pretty standard defensive position. They've sent Pang, their tier 8, down towards the 2 flag just to stay still and scout out. Early shots landing on towards those 113s, but they're not going through.
Power did get tracked, so he's had to use up a repair kit very early on in the piece here. B Gaming very quickly make their way straight onto that 1 flag. I like this. It does, oftentimes when we see an attacking team against Meltdown get onto this flag very quickly, it really forces the hand of Meltdown in an incorrect way. Meltdown just charge straight in there. They walk straight into the crossfire that the attacking side has set up. And we'll see if they can do that again this time, because there's only 30 seconds left on the cap, so they are going to have to really push in there very shortly.
Yeah, I'm loving this early play here from B Gaming, getting all of those 113s on the cap, and that means that any time a tank, pokes around to get the reset on them, bam, whatever tank that is going to take 1,500 or so damage, and looks like the unlucky man to do that is Valiant.
He is going to have to go in there, and well, there are some resets coming across, I think, from the bat chats in the town there, but you can see at the moment, Power really under a lot of pressure. He's below half HP now, but still there's only 10 seconds left on the cap, and Valiant, he's been rushed down here by B Gaming, should be going down relatively shortly, and B Gaming, they're not really letting this cap pressure go off. They've dropped a couple of tanks off, but they've just had a couple more on there, and now that they've got that initial pick, that initial tank destruction, they have started to roll on through. Tilted Matil does go down, and Parthen is also able to pick up T4, so overall it's actually not been a bad passage of play for Meltdown.
Yeah, well, Meltdown really turning that one around. I think B Gaming just staying out in the open for a little bit too long right there.
Yeah.
And paying the price for it, obviously. Waffing forward in that FV215B. Very hard to get through, and we're just seeing now Meltdown using their kind of lighter medium tanks to great effect, just poking up and down the hill, and B Gaming slightly slower lineup of those 4 heavies that are still alive, just struggling to deal with it.
Yeah, absolutely. B Gaming at the moment just getting completely outmaneuvered. You can see Tomato JP, he was isolated. Kyung Power is now isolated and gets taken down, and all of a sudden, really only 3 tanks left alive here for B Gaming. Taki is isolated as well, and so, you know, when you're fighting 1 versus 3, 1 versus 2, or something like that, you're never going to win that battle.
Yeah, no, that was not very pretty at all there for B Gaming, and well, Lod's going to be second last one to go down. Taki's still alive, but with Meltdown taking them out so convincingly after what looked to be a very close start. I mean, yeah, I honestly think that was a lot down to the tanks that B Gaming were in, and you know, as soon as they got kind of caught out trying to move off the flag,
yeah,
you know, they just couldn't. They just weren't fast enough.
Well, there you go. Meltdown starting off pretty well there on the defensive side, and I've got to say, that looked a little bit better than the few times that we have seen them do some silly things on that defensive side. I think B Gaming went about it in the correct manner. They got quickly onto that flag. They really put the pressure on early onto Meltdown, but the execution wasn't quite there.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you there. They started off really well, I think, but letting those, you know, those bat chats, those medium tanks in the town really just pummel at their behinds without really getting any fire across back towards them. That was a big mistake from B Gaming.
Yeah.
B Gaming, because it took, you know, half of the HP away of one of the 113s, you know, all the bat chats in the town. They caught one up on the hill when he was trying to rotate. What B Gaming should have done is just rotated straight away as soon as they saw the IS-4 in a compromising position, got straight off the cap.
Yeah, definitely. Let's have a look at the replays here and find out, you know, when exactly they should have really pushed in here, because, you know, maybe another 5 seconds earlier than this and they wouldn't have taken so much damage onto Kyung Power, that's for sure.
Yeah, there we go. So, see Tomato JP there going down, and at this stage it was all over for B Gaming. I mean, it's simple as that. And, you know, for Meltdown to have such dominating control of the map right after they got the resets, they just looked so comfortable and, you know, controlled the hills, took down B Gaming's heavy tanks before they could even rotate their turrets, you know.
Yeah, well, after seeing that, do you reckon we're going to see a 2-0 maybe?
I think we might.
Okay. Well, we'll find out after we have a look at the post-battle stats here. And of course, it is going to be Meltdown sitting up towards the top there. Not too surprised to see Parthen in that TVP. He was one of the players in the town that was putting so much damage into the back of those 113s of B Gaming.
Yeah, Parthen doing work there in that TVP. 3.3k damage. And, well, the Bat Chat AP there for Taki can't complain about that one either. 2.4 thousand. And those 113s for B Gaming just above the 2k mark. But, yeah, leaving a TVP up that long, always a mistake.
Yeah, definitely. And moving on to the second half, not a great sort of a list there for B Gaming. The 113 of T4 not doing all that much work. Tilton Matil not getting much done in his bat chat. 25T AP either. So not too great really there for B Gaming. But, you know, I just like how they went about that on the attacking side. So it feels to me like they kind of are aware of how they need to go about this one up against Meltdown, at least just off face value there of that very first initial round. So on the defensive side here, it is hard to say. I think I'm going to go with Meltdown now for a 2-0. I think they had to lose that defensive side, really, because that's been their weaker side. If B Gaming had been able to pick up that attack, then yeah, a 1-1. But now, no, I think it's 2-0.
Yeah, well, I think that's a pretty fair prediction as well, unfortunately, for B Gaming. But we'll see whether they can bring it back, of course. And, you know, it was interesting, those tank lineups, which I didn't really like Meltdown's picks coming in towards this one. But in that sort of a situation where they did find themselves in a kind of brawl,
Yeah.
and they needed just a few heavies to lengthen it out a little bit and draw it out to get the resets. They actually worked out quite well having the IS-4 and the FE215B.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's find out whether or not they're going to go for a similar lineup here in the second half as we get underway with the tank picks. And, well, it's, again, a sort of a heavy lineup, really, considering for Meltdown that they've got lots of mediums, but the Object 140s, you know, they can take a few shots.
Yep.
The IS-4, of course, in there as a heavy tank. And B Gaming, this time, not quite as heavy of a lineup. Still, they've got 3 113s. But they've got a few bat chats there as well to play with.
Much more balanced lineup, I think, from both sides, honestly. So, you know, nothing too crazy there. No curveballs, no T57s, which a little bit unfortunate. But of course, the T57 didn't really perform when we saw it in that last game there, only dealing just about 1,000 damage. So, good to see B Gaming kind of going back to basics there for the defensive side. And let's see where they head out to.
For now, Meltdown really just spreading out across the map, and B Gaming fairly similar. They have set up in pretty standard defensive positions. Matil just sort of passive scouting very close towards that 2 flag, so that Meltdown really aren't going to have much luck if they decide to push in that direction. I generally find that the teams do seem to have a bit of a better success rate when they push onto that 1 flag as opposed to the 2 flag.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that the 2 flag's so hard to push onto because it's just so open. You can get shot from the, you know, from the hill where these defenders are. You can get shot right from the back of that kind of spawn area, I suppose, of the defenders, from the forest, from the town, from anywhere. So not really a safe flag to push onto, and because particularly where Matil is and around that general area, there's so many little hidey holes and bushes and stuff that you can stick something like an AU251 in and make it very hard to get spotted.
Yeah, definitely. And for now, Meltdown not too keen on actually heading towards that 2 flag. They just sort of set up in the town, actually, at the moment, which is not something that we tend to see all that often, to be honest. A lot of teams will sort of set up on that hill where Waffen 4 is, and in and around that hill. But Meltdown have gone for a bit more of an aggressive sort of a hold. They've started to get control of that town, and Pang Pang in the RU251, I don't even know where he went down, but he just got absolutely demolished. Yeah,
well, see you later, Pang Pang. So a good early pick there for B Gaming. I think maybe he was, actually I'm not too sure. Maybe he was down the back. But right now, B Gaming going to be taking away that scout from Meltdown, and Meltdown just looking a little bit less confident.
Yeah, definitely.
On the attack.
Parthen taking a lot of damage there as well. This has not been really the ideal start for Meltdown, and you know, their Muravanka attack has been a little bit better than their defensive side in general, but this time certainly not looking that way.
Yeah, so just playing it safe for now, but really if Parthen goes down, then that is a massive damage threat that is going to be off the field for Meltdown. So B Gaming not going to be wanting that to stay alive. And got SP there in that Object 140, going to be trying to get a few nice shots. Of course, the Object 140 not too bad for that. Can spam shells fairly quickly, and does have pretty decent kind of curve and armor on that turret of that Soviet's tier 10 medium tank. So definitely can work out quite well. But overall, we do see Valiant picking up the cap there, so starting to get himself on towards the cap. And with 95 seconds remaining, B Gaming going to be getting a little bit of pressure. I do like where they've situated their Object 140s on the Meltdown side, just to put pressure on towards anyone that resets the cap, or tries to reset it. But for right now, Meltdown aren't committing to any sort of unified push.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about this setup really for Meltdown, because yeah, those tankers are going to get a couple of shots going into them as they try and push in to reset this cap, but they are going to get a pretty free kill onto Valiant when they realize that there's no one actually holding off pretty much anything, to be honest. Valiant is just going to get rushed down here. It'll be another free kill for B Gaming. You've got to expect these 3 113s. They will always, every day of the week, win a 1 versus 1 against the IS-4. And TVP's actually set up pretty nicely for Parthen up the back there in the forest. So
they're missing shots.
Yeah, look, B Gaming has actually been baited a little bit too far in here. I thought that they could push around the corner, get a few shots off, and, you know, get that reset, but I didn't think they were going to completely commit in there. And now Tomato JP, he's on fire. Waffen 4's under a lot of pressure, but he's done a fair bit of damage as well. He's going to go down there in the end to the 2 bat chats, and this is the problem at the moment for Meltdown, is they're playing so spread out. There's really no backup for any of these tanks that are going down. And now that those TVPs have moved out, or Parthen, at least in his TVP, has moved out of the forest, Valiant goes down without really much of a response here. There's 4 tanks left alive for Meltdown. Lots of low HP players for B Gaming. But Meltdown, they just put themselves in such a big hole here that it's really hard to say they're going to be able to climb out of it.
Yeah, very, very tricky here for Meltdown. B Gaming with almost double the HP, in fact, more than double the HP of the Meltdown crew so far, still alive. And with every single tank still alive, every gun still on the field, there's no way that even Mr. Batchat himself, Vicestone, can lead a force to come back from that one. And Kyung Power, he will be taken down. But in response, we do see Utori getting a nice shot on towards Dukion, and Dukion suddenly becomes one shot from death. Parthen, he's one good shot from the 113s as well. And B Gaming have to deal with Vicestone, who's being a bit of a thorn in their sides, but with only 2 tanks remaining, Meltdown should get wiped out here for a 1-1.
Yeah, Parthen's just going to be rushed down here by Utori, and there's not much that he can do about that.
Good bit of play there from Mr. Utori.
Vicestone is, well, he's going to be on the reload very shortly, but he knows this one's over, so he's just going to charge straight in there. Goes for an aim up against Utori, and the woes continue on Moravanka there for B Gaming.
There we go. So B Gaming going to be, well, quite happy with that.
Yeah.
So one apiece there, and evening up the score a little bit. I think that if Meltdown, maybe if they'd actually just gotten a coordinated push down on towards that one flag. I really liked their kind of baiting strategy of those 113s, but they didn't really follow it up with anything. You know, it's like, oh yeah, we baited you a little bit, and B Gaming took like 5 shots or whatever, and they're like, okay, we know where you are. We'll just pick back.
Yeah, well, to be honest there, after that one, I mean, I'm not so sure how this is going to go overall. We'll have a look at the replay, though, before we get too far into things there.
Yeah, okay, so Waffen again, just getting caught out here by the Batchats. Excellent bit of play here by Tomato JP, and I think that was tacky there in those Batchats. Got to give him credit. And, you know, those 113s just pushed right back over the hill on that one flag. Took out the IS-4 that was standing there, and, I mean, I don't really see why you send like all of the tanks so spread out to the flag when you've really only got like a single kind of cheesy kind of bait to back them up that doesn't even take out a tank.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think a 1-1 there overall is meh. Like it's not too bad for either side. Meh. Like we kind of said that's probably what's going to come out here. Meltdown may be going to be a little bit disappointed after picking up the defensive side, not being able to pull it off on the attack there. But you know what? Back to square one, essentially. Back
to square one, exactly. So, well, there we go. 2 apiece, I guess. So, we will be seeing the next map, Himmelsdorf, I believe, roll around. And
no, Steps.
Sorry, Steps.
Yeah.
Steps. We've got Himmelsdorf after that.
Yes.
And Steps should be an interesting one because, again, I feel as though B Gaming, you know, they can be okay on Steps. I prefer B Gaming on Steps defense than I do attack.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But Meltdown on Steps again, you know, they've been okay, but still a little bit wishy-washy. It's not like their best map, I wouldn't say.
No. I mean, again, both these teams do like Steps though, and they both obviously favour the defensive side of Steps. So I can very much see that we're going to be looking towards, I guess, a 1-1 coming out here again. I think it's going to be both sides picking up their defense. But in general, I mean, that's really going to lead us to the same sort of a situation that we're in now, where it's still hard to call who's going to come out of this one with an advantage. So after Steps, I'm looking at a 2-2. So we'll see.
Yeah, there we go. Well, I wouldn't disagree with you there. So I think the Steps should come in for a 1-1. But guys, you can let us know what you think is going to happen here in this matchup between B Gaming and, well, their opponents here. But I think that if B Gaming can, you know, maybe if they want to win the attack here against Meltdown, right, I think they need to pick. So they need to pick like a Grill, maybe an Artie, something like that, because Meltdown really play it a little bit on the edge. Sometimes when they're playing on Steps, they will, you know, really get mobile, really get nice and, you know, up and in your face. And if they can punish that, then I think that's going to be the key.
Oh, well, before we get into that, let's have a look back towards Moravanka there and see the damage coming out. And again, a heavy tank up the top. A little surprising that the Batchats are not being the ones to deal the majority of the damage, but Kyung Power gets the job done with that 113.
Yeah, can't complain about that. And Parthen, of course, staying alive long enough in that TVP, and well, that's always going to happen. The TVP is going to be dealing a lot of damage, and Mr. Bat Chat there, Vice Tone, dealing about 2.4k as well. Unfortunate for Dukion and Pang Pang, both weren't able to pick up a single point of damage in that one.
Yeah, not a very pretty score sheet there for the Meltdown guys. And I mean, looking forward, I guess, again, towards Steps, it's a little interesting for me here to see that, you know, B Gaming has been a little bit poorer on Steps attack than on Steps defense, because in general, their attacking sides are actually a lot better than their defending sides. So, well, statistically speaking. But for some reason, Steps is the exception.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, I don't know why that is either. I guess they, to me, seeing them play for so long, they just have always, for whatever reason, looked more comfortable on the Steps defensive side. It just, look, it can be a hard map to push in. It's not quite like other maps in terms of how you play the attack, because often the favoured route is that one flag push where you just basically get onto the one flag and then just start a trade-off.
Yeah.
And sit one tank onto there, and you can't really position in many super crazy ways or anything like that.
Well, let's find out what the tanks are going to be going away with here on the second map. It's going to be Steps. And, well, T125 for you on Meltdown.
Okay, T110E5, yeah, one of those. On the attack, actually, yeah, well, okay, fair enough. Not a big fan, as you know, but, I mean, Meltdown might be able to make one of them work. Particularly, I do actually almost like the T110E5 if it pushes towards a 2 flag for an attack. That is the one situation on the attack where I like it. But Speed Gaming, they're going to be going with the Object 430, nice high DPM Soviet tier 10, and some standard stuff.
All right, well, making our way onto Steps. As we've said, it's a pretty decent map for both of these teams, although really only on the defensive side. Not that they're slouches on the attack, but certainly it will favour the defenders for now, and B Gaming will be starting off in that position.
There we go. So, B Gaming on the defense. We've got Meltdown here already sending Vice Tone to get a bit of an overwatch position there in his Bat Chat. Of course, that bush in front of him is going to provide fairly good cover from any B Gaming members. And
B Gaming are very, they're very much expecting, at least from this setup, you have to say they think that Meltdown is going to be pushing straight into that 2 flag.
Yeah, I mean, I like this aggressive push here from B Gaming, because obviously if Meltdown were pushing in towards a 2 flag, they probably wouldn't have been expecting such an aggressive defense. But yeah, I don't really remember Meltdown having rushed the 2 flag on Steps much before, so I don't think it's in their playbook, so to speak.
To me, Meltdown don't seem like a very rush sort of a team. They kind of try to poke around the map a little bit more, try and figure out what's going on. They're a bit more slow and reserved.
Yeah, a bit more of your kind of standard, typical Korean team, of course, because, obviously Meltdown, they are one of our, well, I was about to say 4, but 2 Korean teams in the league at the moment, them and Dark Wolves. So, seems to be a bit of a carryover from the Korean meta game, or preferred style of play from last season, as we call it. But right now, Meltdown are slowly moving towards that 1 flag. Pang Pang just getting a few blind shots out there. And of course, it might have looked like that shot was out into the middle of nowhere and seemed pointless. But the reason that Pang Pang does that, of course, is to increase his tank's visibility value. So that means that even if he's not spotted in that single spot, if he fires and he's spotted, that means he knows there's someone just a little bit further out.
Yeah, well, I don't believe he got spotted there by anyone from B Gaming. So he's kind of pretty much figured out that there's really no one from B Gaming holding on the top side of those tracks, on the northern end of those train tracks, and that's going to allow a couple of his teammates to make their way up there. And now Meltdown getting onto that 1 flag, and this is really very typical of how Steps does tend to play out. We see that light tank get onto the flag, and it's up to B Gaming on the defensive side to figure out how they want to really get that reset. And for now, it looks like they're going to try and control the southern end of the map. And Meltdown, I think they're very aware of this. Vice Tone might have spotted out a couple of these players. Meltdown now starting to really push forward. They want to take the battle to T4 and Lod here in that advantageous position that they have. But I just don't think they're going to get there in time.
Yeah, no, it's going to be very tricky for Meltdown to get there in time. T4 and Lot in that object 430 and the 113 fast enough to get away. But we do see Utori, Kian Power, and one more member of B Gaming actually down the bottom there. It's going to be Tiltil Matil, and they might clash with Vicetone and Parthen, and Waffen 4 is actually coming down as well. So we might see a little bit of a kind of battle breaking out down.
Well, Tomato JP is actually also in the bottom of the map there as well. So
yeah,
there's
you
a
go.
very big stack of B Gaming players down there. And Meltdown, I don't think they're going to be aware that there's 5.
No, I think this is going to be very dangerous for Meltdown right here. I will not be expecting 5. They do have, 3 members there, Waffen 4 to back them up, but I mean, they're definitely outgunned for the moment. The question is whether they will pursue it or not, and it looks like the answer is no, but B Gaming all the way down there, it's looking like they are going to be pushing through. And maybe heading up towards the back of Meltdown. So we might see a bit of a rare fight here in the rocks.
Yeah, I don't think Meltdown have spotted really that many of these tanks, but they know there's a couple. Tomato JP is definitely going to get spotted out there, and Parthen getting tracked. That's good for B Gaming at least.
Yeah, it looks like B Gaming there. They are going to be rushing right up on towards Parthen. He did use that repair kit for the track, so not going to have that option available for him as he retreats back to base. And B Gaming, they've got to be a little bit careful here. Soon, they will be within firing range of the rest of Meltdown.
Yeah, B Gaming being very aggressive in these bad chats. Kian Power takes a shot there, but it really does look like B Gaming are getting the better of this fight at the moment. Kian Power is actually going to be able to take down Parthen, and Dukion is very low as well. Although in saying that, B Gaming are now starting to take a bit of damage in response, and Meltdown trying to put the pressure back on them. But once Dukion and Vicetone are on the reload, they're going to be under a lot of trouble. And Tomato JP, and I think that's Tiltil Matil there as well, charging forward. Vicetone probably is going to be getting out of there alive, and Tiltil Matil perhaps not. As the Object 140 comes off the reload, we'll be able to pick him up, and it's a 2-for-2 trade, 2-for-1 actually, in the favor of B Gaming for now. They do have that HP advantage. Waffen 4, he's isolated. He is gone.
Yeah, there we go. Waffen 4 going down, and that is pretty much the nail in the coffin there for Meltdown. B Gaming still with 6 tanks up, and only 3 now for Meltdown. And an IS4, a T110E5 and a bad chat, just not going to cut it against B Gaming's lineup here. So
B Gaming too good on that defensive side here of steps. Sort of what we expected.
Yep.
But then, it's always good to get off to a good start, because now the pressure really is going to be on Meltdown heading into that second half. They have to pick up the defensive side of steps here as well.
Yep. Yeah, no, exactly. So with God SP here in that T110 E5 again, I think he's staying alive for a while because he's playing it safe, but there you go. Actually does get a nice little snipe there onto Kian Power. Might even be able to take out T4 here in the Object 430. He's going to try and go for it.
Yeah, but it's probably not going to matter in the end here. 4 versus 2 is still a very tough ask, and now none of these B Gaming members are particularly low on HP. Well, they do seem to be having a bit of trouble actually penetrating God SP, so he's playing this one pretty nicely, and all this time, where's Vicetone?
Yeah, I don't know where Vicetone is. I mean, he's being Mr. Batchat, I guess, and we all know that Vicetone, he loves to be...
Batchat.
Yeah, Mr. Batchat. He loves to be the last one alive. He's always the last one alive for Meltdown, and look, he's obviously good at playing a Batchat, but sometimes you got to wonder if his team's like, Vicetone, mate, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're sitting at the back. You got a full clip. Like, this isn't random battles. You don't have to repair your tank afterwards.
Yeah, there's no... you don't need to farm your WN8, mate.
Yeah, exactly. But there we go. We can see 113 just searching for Vicetone at the moment. Not going to be seeing him. Vicetone is playing this one very, very sneaky, but of course he's on the attack as well, so no chance of a timeout there either. So should be able to draw it out fairly soon as he gets spotted. But yeah, look, overall Meltdown, I mean, they definitely weren't expecting that 5-man rotate from B Gaming. That caught them off guard to a very large extent, and something which could have prevented that for Meltdown is just leaving one scout back at just a little bit back behind the spawn. The one spawn.
Up in that sort of little rocky outcrop.
Exactly.
K789.
Yeah, K789, exactly. And we do see EL Gaming, they do that sort of a thing. and it generally does buy enough time because it makes it hard for the for the defenders to push over towards that spawn area without without worrying about a bat chat that's just going to unload a clip onto them and kind of juke them in the rocks a little bit.
And now Vice Tone been taking the scenic route here on steps, but he's pretty resigned to the fact that there's really not much he can do about this one. Driving straight into his opponent.
Yep, there we go. So he's going to find Mr. Lod there and miss his first shot, so that should be enough. And who's going to take him out and who gets the final kill? Lod's trying to ram it, but it will be Lod.
Yep.
Well played.
Yeah, exactly. 2-1 up now is B Gaming over Meltdown, but I've got to say, I don't think their hold on this series is very comfortable
Tight.
just yet. Yeah, I don't know where I was going. Maybe comfortable, consistent. Nah, probably not consistent. But anyway, you get the point. Meltdown definitely have the possibility of coming back here with a 1-1 on steps, I think.
Yep. I think so as well. Look, I would be very surprised if Meltdown couldn't win their defense again. I mean, like, they've won it so often. I think they have a very high win rate of it, 70-something% or maybe even higher.
80%.
80%, there you go, on steps so far.
Yeah.
So, would be surprising.
Well, before we go there, let's have a look at the replays of the first half of steps. It was a good play from B Gaming, a good rotation coming around from the south end, and well, it just caught Meltdown off guard.
Yeah, simple as that, Meltdown. We're not expecting 5 tanks to come up from behind them and really push on towards them. And like when they did, B Gaming got so many free shots on towards those Meltdown guys. They took down, I think it was 2 bad chats, very, very fast. And even though, like this T110E5 was still alive, and I think the IS-4 was still alive at that point, they just don't do enough to be able to turn the tide. It's not like if a batch or a couple of TVPs were still alive, where you can unload a few clips and just fight right back. So
I think, again, it's sort of the symptom of Vice Tone there, again, really not having that much of an impact when it counts. A lot of the time we'll see him up towards the scoreboard, up the top of the scoreboard, but, there's been so many times where I've seen him on the other side of the map doing really not a whole lot for Meltdown in those really important situations. So I'm not sure what he's going to be sitting on when we get into the damage stats, but I'd be very interested to see.
Yeah, it's interesting, of course, because Vice Tone, rather, he always finds a way to get quite high on the scoreboard still, generally speaking.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I suppose as long as you're putting out the damage, as long as you're, putting the shells in towards the enemies, and as long as it's not all done, when the game's over, then it should be all right.
Well, let's find out and see whether or not he did get a lot of damage done, and in the end he did.
Yeah, there you go.
But they lost.
Yeah. I mean, and again, that T110E5, look, it did its job at a point. We saw how hard it was to take down when it was in that nice hold-down position where the T110E5 really shines. But at the end of the day, I mean, it still wasn't a game changer, even though it was up for so long during the battle. 14 shots, you'd probably want a little bit more damage than that in a kind of all-out brawl such as we saw.
But he wasn't really in that brawl.
Mm.
I don't think. He was more towards the back end of things, trying to deal with the Object 430 of Meltdown. But in the end, Meltdown... of B Gaming, rather. But obviously, in the end there, Meltdown didn't work out too well for them overall. 3 of their players down towards the bottom of the scoreboard there. And we're definitely going to have to turn things around here on the defensive side. Like I said, I think they can do it.
I think they can do it. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, on the defensive side, look, we've seen Meltdown before. They're comfortable enough on it, quite comfortable on it, even on steps. I do think, though, like B Gaming, they're on a bit of a roll this week.
Yeah,
they've almost won it out against EL Gaming in a tie.
They were actually ahead of EL Gaming, by the way, as well in that series, something like 4-3. Like they could have closed it out.
There you go. So a couple of match points against EL Gaming. I think that it is going to be quite hard for Meltdown to deal with B Gaming, even on the attack here with the form that B Gaming's in. So we'll obviously have to see and wait to see what tanks B Gaming are going to be going with here for the attack. Whether they do go with anything a little bit out there, it's not out of the question for B Gaming. We've seen them pick mouses before. We've seen them pick, some pretty interesting stuff.
It's not like they're bad on steps attack. They played it 9 times. They won it 6. It's just that they're not as good as they are on their defense.
Yeah.
So it's a similar situation there for Meltdown, although to be fair, B Gaming has played a little bit more on steps than what B Gaming has. So maybe there's something in it for them there, so we'll have to find out. We're going to be heading into the tank picks very soon, and there we go.
Okay, so
M40,
there you go. There's the M40, and I really like that here on the steps attack, particularly because, well, actually, I was just about to say because Meltdown are going to be, you know, all sitting around that one flag, looking over towards it in hold down positions. But looking at Meltdown's lineup here, they've got a very fast, a very mobile lineup. Lots of those medium tanks, Object 140s, Bat Chats, TVPs. The 113 to line it all off. So, B Gaming, I mean, like the Artie pick.
Yeah,
Hope they can use it.
I mean, it worked out okay for EL Gaming last match. It wasn't super impactful though. It's like 1,000 damage, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, let's see what B Gaming can do. I think where EL Gaming tends to pick up the Lorraine, B Gaming tend to often pick up the M4043 as their artillery of choice. So I think in this case, they're going to be a little bit more comfortable with that M4043.
Definitely. I think so as well. So right now, I'm going to be seeing the 113 of T4 just poking towards that 2 flag. So it's looking like a potential 2 flag attack here for B Gaming, which again, quite like. They've got a couple of 113s which should do quite well on it, and all they really need to do is get a few spots out and let their artillery go to work. So right now we do actually see Pang Pang getting a bit of a rotate going on towards that 1 flag, maybe scouting it out a little bit. Could be the case that already Meltdown might be looking for a bit of a maybe a rotate or a flank around from the 1 flag, but B Gaming quite happy to just sit here with their 113s and wait for spots.
Well, they're not going to get any in that position, so they are inevitably going to have to make their presence known. But what this is doing, really, of B Gaming sitting so much together on this side of the map, is allowing Meltdown to get so much map control for free. Look at this, Pang Pang is scouting so far forward at the moment. Got SP and Vicetone following up as well. Meltdown, at the moment, are getting a very good sense of where exactly B Gaming is going.
Yeah, there we go. So we are going to be seeing B Gaming moving right in towards the cap, and again, I do like this. The only danger I can see right now for B Gaming is that they have left their artillery piece all the way at the back. I would have almost liked to have seen the arty push down towards the valley as well. Just to make it a little bit easier to defend, and of course, you know, a little bit of accuracy never goes astray either, but for now it's not going to be the case, and we are going to be seeing Lod just ticking down the cap time, and 94 seconds left on towards that one. But I think poking is the name of the game, and oh no, look at Pang Pang, he's getting so close to that arty.
Yeah, there's well, this is a very dangerous situation. I'm not sure if Taki is aware of this. I think they probably have spotted out Pang Pang.
Yeah,
so
there we go.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to pick off the Tomato JP there for now. But I think you know, he's going to hang around here and be a bit of a pest. So it's always going to mean someone from B Gaming is going to have Pang Pang in the back of their mind, and that is going to take some focus away from the actual fight that's going to be coming out here very shortly. Meltdown really very quick into this one, it seems, as well. They want to nullify the effectiveness of Tomato JP and that M4043. They don't want to let him get too much done, and they're going to take the fight straight to B Gaming here, charging very quickly forward. Lod, I mean, he's not going to have too much of a part to play here. It's really going to be Kian Power who's under pressure, and now Meltdown really making Kian Power's life a little bit difficult. Tilted Matil as well is under a lot of damage. Pang Pang, he's actually been shot up to 374. He's made a committed movement through the back of the map there as well. And now B Gaming and Meltdown, the fight really is starting to come to the fore here. And as of yet, we haven't seen that M4043 do too much, but Lod goes down very quickly. And now, 1-for-1 trade. It does favor Meltdown, although, there you go. Valiant is going to be able to pick up another one. So B Gaming on this attacking side, they're having a bit of trouble as well.
Yeah, there we go. B Gaming definitely feeling the pressure here from Meltdown, but we are pretty even as Parthen somehow in that TVP is managing to survive. The issue is for B Gaming, they have lost cap pressure, which again is always handy to have. T4 there is going to be retreating Lots of Meltdown members on towards him, and really right now you'd just be hoping for a massive arty shot right into the middle of those two kind of Meltdown members there. But T4, he's doing his best to survive. I don't think he's going to be up for much longer though.
He's got a damage ammo rack, so it took him so long to reload there, and he does go down in the end. Waffen 4, Panther and Valiant all very low here though, so some easy cleanups for B Gaming if they can get the shots across. And Taki looks like he's going to try and do that, although he won't manage to land the shot, and he's taken a lot of damage as well in response, so that's not been a good passage of play at all for B Gaming.
No.
They lose one of their HP, their full HP bat chats, and now, you know, you have to say there's probably no chance of B Gaming coming back into this one.
Yeah, that is not looking good at all, and we can see Tomato JP does not have a line on towards Waffen 4 here for the shot, and it's at this sort of point where the artillery piece really, oh no.
Well, that's definitely less than ideal.
Yeah.
He maybe thinks he's at a quarry trying to dig up some rocks. But yeah, what else could you do there?
Good ram, good try to ram. He dealt 90 damage.
89, yeah, not ideal.
Well, but yeah, it's looking like B Gaming here. Well, they look how low they got Meltdown. They just needed to finish them off. You know, just one shot.
The focus fire really wasn't quite there from B Gaming, and pretty well played from Meltdown to actually have this many tanks alive on this low of HP, to be fair.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of time really now before Meltdown clean this one up. Tori, Tilt don't have much of a chance of pulling this one off. So it will be Meltdown going to a 2-2.
To a 2-2, there we go. So, Tilt going down, that will be the end of it. And yeah, I mean, I suppose it's what we expected. I did really like B Gaming's early push there. I felt as though it could have worked, had the potential to.
Yeah. I don't know if that M4043 was really all that effective though.
It didn't. Yeah, look, I think it can work. In that situation, it just didn't.
Yeah.
I want to say. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see the damage numbers to, you know, confirm or deny that suspicion. But overall, definitely didn't feel like it had a big impact. You know, it didn't feel like Meltdown were, you know, afraid of it or played, you know, to negate its effect or anything like that.
I think they did to an extent. Like, they forced that fight very quickly when B Gaming was sort of hanging around on that flag. Like, it was 90 seconds left on the clock. They didn't need to force the fight that early, but they decided, you know what, we're just going to go straight in here. We don't want to get spotted trying to reset the cap and, you know, get shot by the M4043. So let's take the fight here. But it certainly didn't work out at all for B Gaming there. So we'll have a look at the replays here, see if maybe we can see one of those artillery shots hitting on to someone, but not so sure. Lod, he got popped so quickly as well that it was essentially one tank down straight away for B Gaming, really.
Yeah, not a great start there for B Gaming at all, of course. And look how low they got some of these Meltdown members without being able to finish them off, you know, and that's just the killer. You need to take down things like the TVP. Like, you just need to take it down. And Tomato JP here. Look at that. Such a fair effort, but the M40, M43 is not necessarily the best rammer around.
No, artilleries don't tend to be that.
No, I mean, well, you could ram with the GW 100 and it'd do a bit.
Depends who you're ramming, I guess, but sure. And let's have a look at the damage stats, see whether or not that M4043 really did play a part. And well, it's not up in the top 7.
No, yeah, not up in the top 7, so less than 1,700 damage. But well, good to see Mr. Bat Chat up the top there for Meltdown once again. And it's this situation where honestly, he's got to be in the lead, or definitely in the running for our MVP competition.
I think so. Like, he's really the only player that we consistently see, you know, almost every round up towards the top of the scoreboard.
Definitely.
It's very rare that he does have poor performances, although last week he had a couple where he did get taken down pretty early on in the piece.
And there you go. So, you know, 1,300 or so damage by Tomato JP in that artillery piece. Can't really complain, but I mean, it didn't get any of those wicked one shots that we love seeing from.
Well,
the M43.
yeah, like I think if you're looking for a tank to do, you know, 1,300 damage, be a bit of a pain, you pick the Lorraine. When you pick the M4043, you're looking for those big damage shots, really, as opposed to just the tickles. Yeah.
No, definitely. Don't want the tickles.
No, and so that's obviously the disappointment there for Meltdown, for B Gaming rather. But 2-2 overall, still things hanging in the balance here. And moving on to Himmelsdorf, Again, I can see that one going to a 1-1. I think, like I said, I think we're going to be heading towards a very close matchup today.
Definitely. And again, I was thinking maybe Meltdown would be, potentially shaken up a little bit from their earlier performances this week when they got 5-4 by TCZ.
Yeah.
1-5-4 against TCZ, but it looks like they're just their usual selves in this game. There's nothing, phasing them at the moment against BK. I mean, they're just playing the usual standard style of play.
Yep.
And obviously, in the maps where they're really comfortable, it's working for them.
At least this time, it's a sort of a different situation where B Gaming, it's really so weird on Himmelsdorf for B Gaming. They're so good on the attack, and they have not won a single defense side of Himmelsdorf so far throughout the season.
A single defense side.
Meltdown, it's a bit more, pretty standard. They have a pretty poor attack on Himmelsdorf, a pretty poor defense on Himmelsdorf, but at least it's kind of even. But certainly B Gaming, well, you can't really call them to pick to win the defensive side when they've played it 9 times and they haven't won it once. So I'm going to go 1-1 here. Both teams to pick up their attack.
Okay, 1-1. Well,
Yeah.
You know what? I think I'm going to agree with you there. 1-1. But guys, you can let us know what you think with the hashtag WGL APAC or tweet at us at WGL APAC. And we can take a look at what the general audience consensus is. Of course, we've had some decent predictions so far. I've got my 5-0 right. Hopefully, I'm on track with a 5-3 in this one, Jordan.
Yeah.
5-3 prediction, but I have to wait and see. For now, though, I think it is almost time to think about what tanks these guys are going to be taking in towards Himmelsdorf. I think, obviously, in contrast to a map like we just saw Steps, we are going to be seeing a lot more heavy tanks. Himmelsdorf, it is a much closer map, much tighter corridors, which really favour heavy tanks. You don't have the options to, rotate around as fast. Maybe a bat chat or two for the hill.
Well, for sure that there's going to be 100% a bat chat.
Yes.
At least one.
At least one.
On Meltdown.
Because Virestone's going to be playing a bat chat. Absolutely. But I think Meltdown even, they picked a couple of bat chats last time on Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, they kind of go for a couple of 50Bs, a couple of bat chats, and maybe a couple of 113s.
Yeah.
And then, they have their tier 8 tank or whatever. And so we'll have a look and see whether or not that's going to be the case here for Meltdown. And there is a couple of 50Bs. There's a couple of heavy tanks. No 113s for them, but the bat chat's coming out as well again for Meltdown. And a 4005 for B Gaming. Not a bad pick in this situation. Up against, the IS-3.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a tier 8 heavy, so definitely something for their 4005 to have a look at.
Oh, yeah, you can
2
one-shot
50Bs.
that. I've done that before.
And 2 bat chats for Meltdown. So lots of nice squishy targets for the 4005
Yep.
to have
I like that.
go.
I like that. 4005 in towards these picks from Meltdown, if, of course, B Gaming can use it effectively. So here we are, Himmelsdorf, of course, where recently it seems to be the trend has been that hill up the top there has been utilised quite a bit more than we've seen it.
Yeah.
So.
And to touch on that 4005 a little bit more, I do think B Gaming has tended to be one of the better sides with the 4005.
100%.
Kyung Power going to be taking it out this time, and on the attack, I tend to, I don't know, like I'm not so sure about taking a 4005 or a 183 rather on the attack for B Gaming.
Yeah, I mean,
or anyone in general.
It is harder to use on the attack, obviously, because when you're on the defense, you can expect like a push down the line, and there are many places you can sit to be able to get like a side shot and essentially like a free, often it should be a free kill on towards the attackers. But when you're on the attack yourself, I mean, I suppose it just comes down to playing a little bit more aggressive, like Kyung Power there, firing a Viretone.
What I don't want to see him do here is peek off sort of the edge of the castle there. We've seen that happen a couple of times with the 4005. And it's not been a good story at all for that tank destroy. It just gets lit up and absolutely demolished by pretty much everyone down the bottom of the map. So what I'd like to see for Kyung Power here is, hang around in that sort of H8, H9 position sort of for a bit. And once B Gaming starts to get control of this 2 area, I want to see him rotate straight up into sort of the B0 sort of line without really taking a peek down in towards the courtyard. I just want to see him fire down that line, make it difficult for B Gaming, for Meltdown to get resets on those tanks sitting on the 2 flag.
Yep. Yeah, there we go. So right now, we are going to be seeing one member of B Gaming get themselves in towards a cap. I think that it is going to be Til Matil in that AMX 1390. Interestingly enough, I'm not convinced with Lod's positioning right here. I mean, he's obviously there to back up Til Matil, but like he's lucky that Meltdown hasn't just rotated in towards him because he's literally the only tier 10 there.
Well,
And
is it necessarily Lod's position that's poor, or is it the rest of the team? Like, it is a very split sort of a strategy. Maybe Meltdown here are trying to wait for a rotate to come through that southern town that they can catch off guard with the 4005, with a couple of their other heavy tanks there. But yeah, you're right. They are leaving Til Matil and Lod here to their own devices, and that could potentially be very dangerous.
yeah, well, Lod's actually making it work with a few, I think, HE shells on towards that IS-3, dealing about 200 damage there. So, kind of punishing Waffen 4. Yeah, punishing Waffen 4 for peeking. So 80 seconds left. Beat Gaming got to be pretty confident at the moment. Meltdown don't have to move in just yet, though. Interestingly enough, Vicestone is still all the way out and towards the one flag. So Meltdown, they're waiting until they see more members of B Gaming before they commit to anything. But at the moment, I mean, B Gaming's winning this trade. Oh, was winning this trade.
Well, yeah.
Still not doing too bad.
Problem here for B Gaming is they're really not putting that much pressure on Meltdown. Like, Til
Yeah,
Matil's pretty
yeah.
easy to
No,
reset
exactly.
at the moment for Waffen 4 with those HE shells. So B Gaming are just waiting for a rotation from Meltdown, and it's just not happening. So eventually B Gaming are going to have to make a play here. And to be fair, this is what B Gaming does tend to do quite a lot on Himmelstoff. They play that very slow game where they keep their tanks in towards that southeastern corner of the map, waiting for something to happen, see if they can get an early pick off. And I mean, yeah, it's worth it, I guess, considering you've got the time to play with. But for the moment, it just doesn't feel like it's working. Meltdown, I don't think, are going to fall into that trap.
No, I agree. Meltdown, they have no problem just sitting back and waiting for B Gaming to kind of come in towards them. But even so, I still think Lod is, you know, very lucky that Meltdown haven't pushed in towards him just yet.
Yeah.
As we do see a couple of the Meltdown guys just looking at the banana, and again, that's a good position for them to be on. So Dukion should be able to get the first shot across B Gaming when they cross the banana. And I'm sure that's got to be pretty soon because we do see the base cap on 40 seconds just about. So they're going to be wanting to get in towards it soon.
Another
but
reset.
Just like that, the reset comes in.
Yeah, so, well, almost 5 minutes on the clock gone. Til Matil and Waffen 4, the only two tanks who have taken really any damage. And I mean, to be fair, Meltdown doesn't really know where B Gaming is holding at the moment, because they just haven't got any information. But as soon as Dukion spots all these guys out on the spot, then Meltdown's going to be on the cross. Then Meltdown's going to be 100% sure of what B Gaming is starting to do.
Yep.
And now, I mean, Utori, he's getting into that hull down position. He's going to stop the rotators coming around behind. So now Lod and Til Matil are just a little bit safer. But you got to say, Til Matil, even though he's getting this cap timer going down, like he's not ever going to get a cap here unless they kill Waffen 4.
Yeah. No, exactly. Waffen 4, whilst he is still up, simply no way for B Gaming to get a cap. But just like that, Lod actually is pushing up a little bit and does get a very nice shot. Tacky going to be finishing him off. Tacky's just come up the hill.
Yeah.
So
and that's what B Gaming needed. Now that's going to force Meltdown to really push one of those heavy tanks forward here to get the reset. Til Matil exerting a lot of pressure now. And what you can see is Count Power in that FV4005 has gone into that position where we sort of said he needed to get into, and that is going to make it so difficult for those guys to get the reset without taking a big chunk of damage.
Yes, and look, Parthen here surely he's going to have to poke in front of Kian Power. He's going to have to. 30 seconds left, but was that a Kian Power shot?
Yeah, that had to have been.
Yeah, that was a Kian Power shot. Oh no, that's devastating. He didn't know that Parthen was there. That would have been so much free damage.
And that'll be a reset for Parthen pretty easily.
Yep. Yeah, easily. It does take just about 700 damage, and I think maybe another 5 seconds.
The reload's going to be coming off shortly.
Was that a miss? Might have been a miss.
It was a miss. I don't know whose miss it was.
Yeah, I think it was the FVs, and in the meantime, Vicestone and another medium have pushed up here for a Meltdown with that FV4005 on the reload.
Vicestone's not too keen to pick this corner with Kian Power waiting there, and you can definitely understand that. But it's sort of a one-and-done position here for Kian Power. Yeah, he might get one. But without backup, he is going to go down. Tacky has quickly rotated up there to give his teammate a hand. And now the time is starting to tick away. Kian Power, what can he do here? Not enough.
What was that shot?
It was Tacky from behind.
Yeah, well, I thought did Kian Power miss, or did he just not shoot?
he missed.
That is not great. Not great, because that could have been a bat chat down. Simple as that. If Power just hit his shot there. So really, a little bit suboptimal for the FE4005. In the meantime, though, we do see that base cap really getting close. 22 seconds left, and with Utori defending up the bottom of these capturers, it will be hard. And there we go. There's the shot.
He's gone from about 2/3 of HP to 0. And now Utori, he's probably not going to allow Dukion around here. He's just going to block him off, and I don't think there's going to be a reset coming out. 1 second left on the clock, and there is just in time a reset coming out. Dukion finally gets around there as well, but he's going to have to take so much damage for his trouble. And even though B Gaming take that reset, they've got the 2 kills that they need, and 2 versus, well, 7 still alive for B Gaming. There's really not much of a chance that Meltdown is going to be able to pull this one off. But to be fair, B Gaming always been very strong on the Himmelsdorf attack. Meltdown, this was the one where they'd be okay, you know, we kind of came into this one expecting it to be having some difficulties. I think at the end of this one, you know, there's no pressure really on B Gaming, but definitely on that defensive side, you really can't back them at all. So I still think Meltdown definitely not out of this contest just yet.
No, definitely not. So B Gaming with a very strong win, though. You've got to say, I mean, 7 tanks remaining. Like, that's pretty good. You don't often see that on Himmelsdorf, even with EL Gaming, something like that. No. So again, definitely a big mistake there from Meltdown to, I suppose, let that pressure build up and not really punish B Gaming enough, because, like we said earlier, you know, Meltdown, they played so passively there, they didn't have the intel. So they didn't know that, you know, that B Gaming were all set up way back near their spawn. Because if they'd known that, if they'd sent, you know, I would think that's what some of the bat chats could have been for, you know, just getting some fast scouts across.
I suspect they're probably pretty scared, though, of the 4005, right? So they don't want to be driving around, putting themselves in dangerous positions. But, you know, as soon as they figured out where that 4005 was, they knew that there was just Utori down towards the bottom end of the map.
Yeah.
Or not the bottom end, but the bottom end of the fight, really.
Yeah.
And they didn't really put him under all that much pressure. I think they could have rushed him down. They had a couple of 50Bs to work with, so I'm not so sure what was going on there. Let's have a look at the replays. Maybe that'll help us find out.
Maybe, but yeah, at this stage, I mean, Dookie only got the good reset, but it just wasn't worth it, and Power there. Just before that, he'd taken down a bat shot on the hill, 49 HP, so just surviving on the skin of his teeth, but yeah, at this stage, it was just all over for Meltdown. And Valiant in the IS-4 there. I don't think he had too much of an impact overall. And good to see B Gaming's focus fire improving a little bit, leaving the IS-4 till the very end.
So currently 3-2 in the favour of B Gaming. Meltdown, we both feel probably have a pretty good chance of pulling off this second half of Himmelsdorf. But to be fair, I mean, it's not one of Meltdown's favoured maps. So maybe it is about time for B Gaming to pick up a victory on the defensive side.
True.
4-2.
I wouldn't be surprised to see. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see B Gaming pick up a win here on the defense.
Yeah,
like you said. I mean, they played the attack really well. Meltdown. Okay, I'm not a big fan of that really passive defense. I'm never a big fan of that. They did try at least and get the bat chat flank going on the hill, but the FE4005 was still alive and had no pressure coming out from the 2 lines, so it was just like, okay, I'm just going to poke you and just one-shot you.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how much that FE4005 really did there for B Gaming, because it didn't feel like it really had that much of an impact. Yeah, I mean, he got the good shot onto the bat chat, but apart from that, it wasn't doing that much.
Yeah, missed a couple.
I think it exerted a lot of pressure, though.
Well, exactly, like you said.
The bat chats weren't as free as they perhaps would have liked to have been.
Yeah. Like you said, when there's a danger of getting one shot, you've got to be a lot more careful when you're scouting.
Well, let's find out whether or not the 4005 was up towards the top of the damage chance, and he got a couple of shots off, actually.
Can't complain about that.
2.6, that's definitely respectable. You can justify the pick with that.
Yep.
And actually the top 4 going over to B Gaming, so across the board, the Meltdown guys not doing the damage that they need to.
No, a little bit unfortunate there for Meltdown, but a lot of Nutori in those 113s, dealing a fair amount as well. And, I mean, Virestone's still up nearish to the top, I suppose, of Meltdown at least, with 1,500 damage. It's nothing too impressive down the bottom of the scoreboard there.
Waffen 4's 334 damage, though, was very impactful 334
Yeah, well,
damage,
exactly.
Considering.
exactly.
Got lots of resets with that. But wasn't enough in the end there for Meltdown. I mean, it was looking good for a moment, but as soon as he went down, you could just tell the pressure had completely eased off B Gaming's shoulders.
Yep.
There was so much freer to work the map there, and obviously as a result, you can see they pick up the victory quite convincingly in the end.
Quite convincingly, I think. So there we go. That was B Gaming taking out a win on the attack, and I think on the defensive side here, I would be expecting some FE4005s. Well, you know, at least one FE4005, maybe a 183 from them here. Definitely love to see at least one of those TDs on the defensive side here on Himmelsdorf.
I would expect to. B Gaming, they tend to be the guys that that pick those sort of out there picks a little bit more. So
Yep.
like they get the mouse, they get the 4005s, M4043, which we don't see that much. So I wouldn't be particularly surprised to see something a little different coming out from B Gaming here on the tank picks. Let's have a look though, and of course it's just going to be pretty much stock standard. So
Yeah,
there you go.
You're wrong.
Yeah,
So
not unusual.
not unusual, no, exactly. But look, B Gaming, they're going with those 113s. A couple of AMX 50Bs in the mix as well. That French Tier 10 auto loader. They've got one Bat Chat and one RU251 in as well. But overall, nothing too crazy, which is, yeah, a little bit disappointing. But well, they definitely want to win, so no reason why it can't work. Let's take a look at where they are heading out to. And it's looking like B Gaming actually with a very aggressive open on the defense here, heading right down the kind of rail tracks down the 3 line there, potentially looking to push in towards Meltdown.
This is
their spawn.
extremely aggressive.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose they don't have to worry about any massive tanks one-shotting them, so why not?
No, and they're getting a lot of information as well. This banana push, they know, well, they're going to find out pretty much from this banana push that Meltdown is going to be up on that hill. I think they're very quickly going to cotton on to what Meltdown is doing. But similarly, Meltdown, they haven't encountered any pressure, any sort of control up towards the hill there from B Gaming. So they're going to take advantage of that and move straight down that hill. And they've got a lot of map control of their own. I mean, really, B Gaming with control over towards the 1 flag, it's kind of irrelevant considering the position that Meltdown is in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly there. So we are going to be seeing guys from Meltdown pushing down the hill there. Nice and fast. Matil just misses a shot. Or dodges a shot, I should say. And B Gaming now, they're definitely going to know that Meltdown are around that place. And it's up to them to regroup and rotate back on towards the 2 flag for a recap.
Well, are they going to even have time to do that? Because B Gaming, you know, they're very far away from this flag, and Meltdown have already situated 3 tanks on here, so it's going to come down to Tomato JP, I think, to get that reset. He's going to be charging right up through that sort of that B line, see if he can get a shot into Valiant, which he probably will. 20 seconds left on the clock. He's going to be okay here, but we'll see how much damage he takes in response for it. B Gaming do have to get a wriggle on. Actually gets one onto God SP.
Yeah, and no damage taken, and it's looking like B Gaming are going to be getting themselves on the flag. They do not have Matil and Lod and their medium tank on the hill there.
No, not at all. So Meltdown maybe under a bit of pressure here as well, though. Valiant, he's going to, you know, avoid a couple of shells, but he does start to take a bit of damage as well, and now the trades of fire begin. Meltdown have probably not got the focus here as B Gaming, you know, their focus fire is looking very good. God SP gets down to very low HP. Parthen does take a couple of shots, but in the end, Valiant now is the focus of fire here for B Gaming and will be the first tank to go down. B Gaming, again, starting this one off with the tank advantage.
Yeah, there we go. Great start there from B Gaming. Rotated really, really quick. Nice, decisive rotate. Some great shot calling as well, taking down God SP as their second target of focus fire. Parthen's going to be the next one. You can see so disciplined. B Gaming, they do not touch any other tank before their previous primary target has been taken down, and that's definitely going to hold them in good stead for the rest of this fight. Tomato JP though in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he certainly is. Waffen 4 also under a lot of pressure. Pang is going to go down. There goes Waffen 4 to Kyung Power, and I got to say, I think we're going to be seeing our first victory on the defensive side here for B Gaming. Finally, in week 8. After, well, this will be their 10th battle on defensive side of Himmelsdorf, but you know, if there was ever a time that they would have wanted to win, it would have been this one, because if they can take down Meltdown here, that's a huge swing in the points, because B Gaming is the one that's chasing Meltdown for that second position.
Well, exactly, and if they can take them down without going to a tie break, you know, then...
I'm not sure exactly how many points both of them are sitting on, but it's certainly going to help B Gaming out, that's for sure.
Absolutely, 100%. So B Gaming here looking very, very good. Just looking to finish off, you guessed it, Mr. Batchat. Take him down, and Tacky there will be staying alive on the hill. And, well, there you go. B Gaming, 4 games up against Meltdown.
4 versus 2 overall at the moment. So B Gaming are in a very good spot here. The Ghost Town is the next map. So, you know, we're going to have to see Meltdown 2-0ing that one if they want to take it to a tiebreaker here. But I guess getting too far ahead of ourselves here. Looking back on Himmelsdorf there, it just felt like B Gaming, you know, they sort of gave up a lot of the map control there, and Meltdown got straight in towards that flag. But, you know, from the fight that B Gaming took, Meltdown really didn't have the tanks in positions that they needed.
Yeah, it was strange because Meltdown, look, they had the time, right, to set up into the positions that they needed to. And you know, they had a good 30 seconds or so to get ready for B Gaming to push in towards them. And they didn't really get into a great position for the attack there on that flag. And B Gaming were obviously able to capitalise on it. When we saw the Amex 50B poke in to get the cap reset, should have been punished by, you know, taking a lot of damage itself, didn't take any. And that just bought B Gaming enough time to get all of their forces on towards the flag and kind of take it out from there, I guess. And excellent, you've got to give credit there to B Gaming's shot calling and whoever their in-game leader was in that fight, because that was absolutely impeccable. Taking out one by one each member of Meltdown, 100-0, not touching anyone else. Moving on to the next one, 100-0, 100-0.
Yeah, let's have a look at the replay. I'm sure they're going to show us pretty much exactly how that one turned out for B Gaming, and you can see again, like, this is exactly the situation. No one really takes damage until Parthen goes down, and now they're focusing here on Pang Pang. He's going to go down very quickly, and next cab off the rank, Waffen 4. Once a couple other guys get in his direction,
Yep.
There you go. So now, you know, overall, just the focus fire, very good there for B Gaming. The discipline, very good. And they're looking pretty strong overall here now that they've picked up that 2-0 on Himmelsdorf. With a 4-2, not so sure about how this one's going to go. But before we get too far into Ghost Town, let's have a look back at Himmelsdorf. The damage coming out there. Tomato JP in the AMX 50B, as you would expect and hope, leading his team in the damage charts.
Yeah, there we go with 3.1 thousand damage there in that one. We've got Dookie on there in the FE215B, 2.8k damage. Lod, 2.7k in that 113. But overall, look, some good damage numbers across from all of the B Gaming guys up the top there. You know, just about 2k, even for Tacky at number 7. And, well, Mr. Batchat, Vicetone, 2.5k, but still just doesn't feel like he had much of an impact.
Yeah, this time Waffen 4 in that IS3 wasn't able to play much of a part for Meltdown.
Bit disappointing, but well, he took 1,500 damage, and I suppose that's all that an IS3 can be expected to do in that scenario. So there we go. But overall, Meltdown, they need to take out this next one, obviously, to stay in it. And
yeah,
the downside for them is that even if they come back and go ahead and 5-4 B Gaming, that they've just lost a point, because it will be a tiebreaker win in that scenario. And of course, for those that don't know, our tiebreakers, the loser gets 1 point, the winner gets 2, instead of the regular 3 points.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, heading over here onto Ghost Town, I just don't think getting a 2-0 here is going to be too easy for Meltdown. I mean, it's not a terrible map for B Gaming. Similarly, it's not a bad map for Meltdown. It is actually Meltdown's pick. But let's have a look and go ahead and see how Ghost Town is going to start to turn out here. So we're going to get into the tank picks and AMX 50Bs. No surprises here coming out on Ghost Town. Probably a little disappointing to see no T57 heavies.
Yeah, a little bit. I do like them, but honestly, the way that I've seen B Gaming playing the T57s in the past, when they have picked them, it's been a little bit kind of, no,
okay,
not like that. So I don't mind them not picking it, just stick to what they're comfortable with here. 113s, the AMX 50Bs, and that single Batchat. Really like those two 215Bs here on Ghost Town. I think they work out really well. But yeah, Meltdown, we'll see what they can do with them. The 215Bs, brawling is, you know, the name of the game for those tanks. So if they can get a nice brawl out, it's going to be pretty hard.
Certainly is. B Gaming going to be starting off on the defensive side here. Meltdown on the attack. Both teams do favour the defense a little bit here on Ghosttown. So,
yeah, on Ghost Town,
but
of course.
it's not as one-sided as say Steps was.
No. I mean, saying that, yeah, B Gaming do have a 70% win rate on their Ghost Town attack.
Hang on. Pang Pang's dead already. Did I just miss something? What was he doing?
Did I just miss something while I was looking at stats?
What was he doing?
Let's see.
How did he die so quickly?
See ya, Pang Pang.
I don't know.
There you go. Okay, well, rip Pang Pang. I'm gonna just watch the screen now, so I don't miss anymore.
Yeah.
But
maybe rip up the stats again.
Maybe rip up the stats. Yeah, might be a good idea. But Parthen and Vicetone there. Looks like they might be heading for a bit of a flank, although B Gaming are ready for them. They've got Taki, Utori, and T4 on that kind of western front, so to speak, looking down the 1 and 2 lines, ready for those bat chats. Rest of B Gaming nice and clumped up, so ready for a city brawl if it erupts into that. I'm really liking B Gaming's positioning now. You know, they've got just about all bases covered. I don't really want to see them let Vicetone get too much further up on the western side, though, because if he does, then you know that bat chat can inflict huge damage onto the sides of those heavy tanks.
Yeah, definitely. Tomato JP does take a shot from Parthen there, and well, it's not been a bad start here for B Gaming. They're very good on the defensive side of Ghost Town. 7 wins out of 10 played. So I'm a little bit worried now for Meltdown. I think we could be potentially here now heading towards a 5-2, to be honest, because you know you let one tank slip, B Gaming get the advantage. It's a good map for B Gaming, good side for B Gaming. All of a sudden, kind of just let it slip.
Yeah, there we go. So right now, Meltdown are just going to be still feeling it out, still getting a bit of intel from Vicetone. He's just peeking up and down that that kind of H1, or that one line in general, I suppose. We've got Valiant there in that AMX 50B, just ducking up and down. Waffen 4 as well. He's moving a little bit closer towards the B Gaming lineup in his FV215B. But at the moment, B Gaming are definitely in no rush to move out of their defensive positions, and it's looking like Meltdown are pretty content as well, with 7 minutes on the clock to just keep on feeling B Gaming out.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like Meltdown here for now are sort of trying to get more control in towards that 2 flag, which I think is a bit of a worry. Obviously, we've discussed it many times previously. The 2 flag, it's so easy to get resets on that 2 flag. Although, to be fair, we don't really ever tend to see a flag capture victory on Ghost Town. It's more of a brawly sort of map where we do see those fights actually, you know, deciding how the map is going to play out.
Yeah, no, often when we do see that flag victory on Ghost Town, it is, like you said, rare, but it is like, you know, when we see one team get on towards the one flag with 1 or 2 tanks, and then the other team just not rotate up fast enough to get the reset. You know, it's very rarely, you know, a dedicated flag capture sort of thing. So in the meantime, though, Meltdown have rotated towards one other side of the 2 flag, getting a nice shot on towards Utori, and they have won the poke war so far with a little bit, about 600 more HP than B Gaming.
Yeah, that's not so bad, considering they've already lost a tank. Meltdown's actually been able to put a lot of damage across to B Gaming. Utori, he's low on HP now, and has to fall back out here. He's not going to be able to do that, so we're back to even tank situation, and now Meltdown with a pretty big advantage, 2,000 HP. That's definitely not something to scoff at.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's why you don't let Vicetone just do whatever he wants up on that kind of 1 and 2 line there on the flank, because as soon as Vicetone gets control of the flank, then that spells trouble there for B Gaming, because, I mean, if they let Vicetone get all the way up and onto the sides of their heavy tanks in the town, then there's no way they can fight that.
No, definitely not. Just waiting now, I guess, really, for B Gaming, or for Meltdown rather, to actually make their concerted push into one of these flags, make something happen, because there's been 5 minutes gone by. They've got a little bit of map control, but really not a huge amount, to be fair.
Yeah.
Now we see that flag starting to be pressured a little bit from Meltdown, although still plenty of time on the clock here for B Gaming to play with.
Yeah, so now this is the first well, in my opinion, the first mistake of Meltdowns. I don't really like Dukion getting on towards this 2 flag right here, because that means that he's effectively committed to it by Meltdown setting him there. So that means that B Gaming now have the option to rotate. They're just checking out the 1 flag. They know they're not there, and now they have all the time in the world, 70 seconds, to deal with that 2 flag push.
They do need to be aware of this flank coming around, though, from Meltdown. There's a couple of probably bad shots there on the side of the map that Meltdown are going to be able to use, especially if they go unspotted, although Firestone has been spotted out. But Kyung Power, he takes a huge chunk of damage there, down by about 1,300 after all that little passage of play, 1,400 even almost. He's onto 600 HP or just above it. And that's not good when one of your frontline tanks, your AMX 50B, is so low before the fight has even started here.
That is really, really bad, but excellent play from Meltdown from those bad chats, just completely catching B Gaming off guard. And look at that, Tacky. He's going to try something, but gets absolutely punished, taking almost 800 damage.
30 seconds left on the clock here on that cap, but looks like a reset has come out. Meltdown, the cap pressure is going to be non-existent, but again, they've managed to force the hand of B Gaming here. They've picked up all that damage onto Kyung Power. They've been able to pick up that kill onto Tacky, and now they're very much in the driver's seat of this battle for now. The AMX 50Bs are starting to get involved here from B Gaming, so maybe we will see a bit of a swing, but it's hard to imagine B Gaming are going to be able to come back from a deficit like this.
Yeah, look, the issue here is just those bat chats. It's all well and good that, you know, B Gaming are going to be able to win the poke war here in this 2 flag, win the brawl here, you know, whilst so many Meltdown members are exposed, but Parthen's going to come around, Vicetone's going to come around, and, you know, even though B Gaming's just picked up 1, it's not going to be enough.
No, definitely not. Valiant there is able to pick up Kyung Power, and we are going to see, as you mentioned, Vicetone now starting to make his way in there. Parthen starting to come around from the back, and this is where B Gaming is going to sort of capitulate. Waffen 4 does manage to pick up Till Matil. Now under a lot of pressure by the AMX.
Oh, 1 HP.
Valiant finding another kill for himself. You know, just across the board, B Gaming dropping like flies, and it's been a very good sort of a comeback there from Meltdown. They lost a tank very early on in the piece there, but they're able to come back with a very convincing win on Ghost Town. Yeah,
there we go. So I think that was one of those situations there where B Gaming, maybe the super defensive style of play, letting Meltdown have the run of the map, might have been the mistake.
Potentially there. I mean, like you said earlier on in the piece, they let Vicetone get a very sort of easy control of that western side of the map, and he was able to, you know, make that play happen. And then obviously he rotates it back around to the eastern side, you know, makes it the play come from behind, and just really puts B Gaming under a lot of pressure there.
Yeah, no, that Vicetone honestly was one of those times where he was absolutely crucial to Meltdown's win. And I mean, you know, props to him, props to Parthen as well in that other bat chat for doing a really nice flank as well, helping out his buddy Vicetone and kind of getting on towards the side of those B Gaming tanks and evening up the score very early on. If he hadn't done that, then that would have been a lot trickier for Meltdown to win.
I think, you know, the takeaway at least was, even though they lost that initial tank, they were able to do a lot of damage across. So yeah, you can kind of argue it was only the tier 8 tank, and they got damage across to the tier 10. So maybe it was a worthwhile trade at the end of the day.
Maybe. It might have been. But let's go ahead and take a look at the replays from that one. And yes, that was the early kill on towards Utori there. So we just see that at this stage, effectively, it was all over for B Gaming, with Till Matil going down there. And even though Meltdown were trying for the 2 flag cap, and often we say that, you know, it's not the best cap to go for, because obviously it you know, it's very open. It has lots of positions where you can go in and attack it, lots of angles that you have to defend yourself from when you're in the 2 cap. It didn't matter in that stage because...
No. Yeah. And it's not like they really committed towards it either. So,
well, exactly.
You know, it was sort of more of a bait style strategy than commit towards that 2 flag. And AMX 50B sort of reigning supreme a little bit on Ghost Town there. 4 out of the top 7 tanks, AMX 50Bs. And, well, Parthen was actually the one really dealing the damage there with that bat chat on the side. I think he would have been the one that put most of that damage into Kyung Power, who, incidentally, was actually the top damage dealer for B Gaming at the end of the day. So it's a little surprising.
There you go. So Count Power, interestingly enough, up the top, but we did see Vicetone, Mr. Batchat there, number 6 with 2.2k damage. Definitely had a very, very big impact on top of that as
Bang
well.
Bang actually managed to do more damage than Utori.
Oh, that's devastating.
Despite being taken out in like the first 50 seconds of the battle.
Surprised he got 3 shots off as well, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bang Bang and that Object 416. Again, we do like seeing the Object 416 on Ghost Town every now and again as a kind of tier 8. You know, it's got a pretty good pen, a pretty good amount of pen for its gun. For a tier 8 light tank, of course. But, you know, 3-4 to B Gaming still. Do you reckon they're going to be able to take out this next half?
I'm a little bit worried, to be honest, after that one. Like, I thought they weren't particularly an awful team on Ghost Town, but Meltdown made that look so easy. And as I say, history repeats itself. Meltdown won last time 5-4. There's a lot of pressure on B Gaming to pick this one up because I feel like if it goes to the final map, there's a very good chance that Meltdown will be able to pick it off 5-4 because I just feel like, you know, that momentum, if they win the last 3 rounds in a row here, or the last 2 to get into the tiebreaker, then the momentum's going to be in their favor and 5-4 is definitely on the cards for them. Just depends, I think, which team wants it more a little bit here, but let's go ahead and look at the tank lineups for the second half of Ghost Town.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
This is a bit more out there.
Okay, B Gaming, they want to win now. They're, you know, they're not leaving anything to chance. They've got the E100, that German Tier 10 heavy tank. They've got the 2 T57 heavies, that American Tier 10 heavy auto loader. Couple more auto loaders in the AMX 50Bs.
And the T54E1.
And the T54E1.
And a WZ111 to round it out.
Yeah, there you go. So, bit of a crazy lineup there from B Gaming, but I think it's just crazy enough it might work, Jordan.
Yeah, potentially. B Gaming will be very keen to close this one out 5-3. They definitely don't want to be letting any points slip over to Meltdown because that's going to make catching them so much harder. And remember, if B Gaming can get into that second place, then obviously they get themselves a berth into the finals without having to go through that, you know, that's qualifying stage.
Yeah, exactly. So if they can do that, then that is the dream. That is the goal for B Gaming and Meltdown, both of these teams, in fact. But right now, I can see what B Gaming are doing. They're not worried about any flanks or anything like that. They just want to push in towards the town, start a brawl, and just have a big fist fight here with Meltdown, with all of these heavy tanks. That is the only goal that they have.
That's exactly what they want to do here. Till Matil, WZ111 is going to get onto that flag on the 1 cap.
And you know what? Mr. Batchat, he's not in a Batchat.
Really?
He's in an FE215B.
That's strange.
It's basically the only other tank he plays apart from the Batchat.
You've seen him in TVP as well.
Yeah, oh, true, yeah.
But that's kind of like saying we've seen him in a Batchat.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Because they are very similar,
But yeah, I like Till Matil here in the WZ111. Just peeking around the 1 flag there. And he's going to be trying to get a few shots. Of course, that 111 does have pretty decent gun for a Tier 9 heavy.
Yep.
So should be able to get some shots across on towards Parthen there. Or just stay in the cap and get some cap pressure going.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't been reset yet, and there's been quite a lot of shells headed in his direction. It's a fairly low-profile heavy tank, the WZ111, all things considered, but eventually he does get reset there. HE shell from somebody going in his direction.
Wins the trade, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he can...
Manages to actually damage the ammo rack as well, so... You
know,
oh,
did he? Oh,
yeah,
there you go.
Yep.
Wow, and that's actually really big because Parthen doesn't have a repair kit now.
Yeah.
So, big plays there from Till Matil. But at the moment, we are going to be seeing Got SP and Pang Pang. They ain't going to be the ones in the Batchat this time to try and get a flank across around to the side of B Gaming, who, interestingly enough, aren't actually pushing over so far. They're pretty happy just kind of waiting in the town.
Well, the HE shell going into Till Matil there. But, you know, for now, I mean, I think B Gaming are going to be pretty content with how this one's gone so far. Parthen has taken a little bit more damage than Till Matil, and in Tier 9 versus Tier 10, obviously the Tier 10 should be favoured, but in this case, Tier 9 making its worth known. And now you can start to see Meltdown. They're getting a bit restless, starting to move across the map. Pang Pang in the Batchat through the eastern side of the map there, and the other guys just getting a little bit nervous, I suppose, in the town, moving around a little bit, and eventually someone's going to run into well, somebody.
Yeah.
54-E1 there of Utori. Again, another trade goes in the favour of B Gaming.
Yeah, there we go. So Parthen is just having so much trouble here in this IS4.
Yeah.
Really not having a fun old time. As we have got Utori up on the top there. And honestly, a T-54-E1, perfect tank. Perfect tank to stop one of these bat chat pushes because it can just put out so much damage. It's got an excellent turret, so hard to get through it. He's getting shot, I think, by Valiant there though, so does need to be a little bit careful. But I mean, B Gaming don't really care if Meltdown push in towards them. That's exactly what they want. I don't think Meltdown's going to be able to get really behind them with that T-54-E1 Utori sitting up on the hill guarding for the Batchat flank. So I'm really liking B Gaming's chances in this one, Jordan.
Yeah, me too. I agree. I think they're in the position where they should be able to win this battle from here on out. It's going to come down to...
Push is coming.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to come down to this brawl now. I mean, we've seen the poke war, go slightly in the favour of B Gaming, but definitely now that this brawl is starting to come into effect, it is going to come down to this, really. Lod's already missed a shot there, but he should be off the reload by the time the battle actually starts. And he's going to peek in here. Vicetone has taken a huge amount of damage here. And look at the focus coming out from B Gaming. They want to get rid of Vicetone straight away, and they do manage to do that. Tomato JP will continue his push here in the T-57 Heavy. And even if he does go down, he's got his 4 shots off now. So he's not going to be too bothered by that. Utori in the T-54-E1. That's a tier 9 for B Gaming going down. Not a big deal. And they do manage to trade one back. It's a 2 for 2 overall, though. And Meltdown actually have that HP advantage. 1 for 4. He's trying to get out of there in that IS-3, and he probably will manage to do that. A bit of a lull now, as we're going to see some reloads coming out from the T-57 Heavies, those AMX 50Bs as well. And, well, I think at the end of that, actually, Meltdown came up with the advantage.
Well, they do. They've got the HP advantage now, so well played there by Meltdown. Would have liked to have seen Lod take a little bit more damage for his friends in that E100.
Oh, there's a good shot, though, into Valiant.
Oh, yeah, that's what you're looking for. Nice big shot from the E100. And... Bat Chats are still on full HP, so still very much a danger there.
Yeah, very much. Especially when we get into these late round sort of fights where there's not as many tanks for B Gaming alive. It really does give the Bat Chats a lot more room to maneuver. They're not covering. A lot more angles are open to them. There's not so many tanks covering things off there for B Gaming. And well, Dukion, that's not a good sort of passage of play there for Meltdown. Him getting picked off without really doing all that much, that's very important for B Gaming. It swings the tank advantage in their favor, and maybe they don't have that HP to play with, but they certainly have the guns in the game to really pull it back here to Meltdown. It's still not going to be an easy victory for either of these teams. I still feel like it hangs in the balance. Yeah,
very, very close between these two teams. Of course, the issue for B Gaming right now, Jordan, is that they've only got 3 minutes and 20 seconds left. They are on the attack, so they either need to take out all of the members of Meltdown or get a cap going, and they are in quite heavy tanks. There's nothing really fast left for B Gaming, so they don't have the option to rotate very fast. So they really need to make these next fights count. Ooh.
T-57 Heavy going down there for B Gaming. Hurricane gets tracked, but he's going to fall back and he gets the repair kit off. It's okay for now. Meltdown with those 2 Bat Chats. They're both going to be so crucial here. Lod is under a lot of pressure now as well. And if he goes down, if Lod goes down here, I don't think B Gaming can win this battle.
Well, there you go. He's just gone down, and that is not looking good at all. Pang Pang just cleaning up another one, and it is looking like, Jordan, we are going to be going to a tiebreaker game number 5.
Well, like we expected. It was always going to be such a close battle coming out here between these two teams. It was going to be so hard to call who won. And at the moment, we're not quite there yet. But Meltdown have got that momentum now.
Yep. And Til Matil, unfortunately for him, he
did such a good job earlier on.
Yeah. Honestly, I would have liked to have seen... I don't really know why B Gaming didn't push in towards the 1 flag and actually push and force the fight, because, again, it was just a scenario where Meltdown got behind them and, just finish them off from there.
There was a lot of options available for B Gaming that they didn't take. I would have liked to have seen them, when it got down to sort of that 5v4 situation, I would have liked to see them actually get onto that flag and put a bit of pressure onto, put a bit more pressure onto onto Meltdown that way. But they just kind of took the fights there, and the E100 got caught out. It wasn't able to move out of its position, and obviously being an E100, so it just soaked up a lot of damage. But what can you say? Really, you just go down. Didn't do all that much, to be honest. In that sort of late skirmish, did a bit of work earlier on, but in the initial skirmish as well for the E100, it didn't really soak up the damage that we would have liked to have seen coming out. The E100 in that situation probably would have been better off being an AMX 50B.
Probably, yeah. Exactly. Like, you need to soak up damages in the E100. Simple as that. Here, this was the issue. So the E100 was right at the back, and the T57s were at the front. And Lottie tried to poke out. And obviously Meltdown are going to be trying to focus the T57 heavies, but you should still be able to body block a shot or two.
Yeah.
So
Tomato JP, it does feel like he might have gone a little bit too aggressive in his T57 heavy as well. Took a lot of damage and put himself very low. And this was a pretty crucial kill as well.
Yeah.
T4 going down to Pang there. Just those bat chats from Meltdown. Staying on such a high amount of health late in the game is always going to make your life a lot easier.
Yeah. Definitely. So there we go. Meltdown taking down B Gaming. And I feel as though that, like, if B Gaming again, like you said, had just moved into even the one flag, even if they got another couple of tanks on the one flag, and forced it, and forced the cap, got it down to 20 seconds, 10 seconds, something like that, then I feel as though they're the situations that Meltdown doesn't play too well in.
Yeah.
So maybe that would have worked out a little bit better for them, but anyways, not to be.
That's going to have to be the situation, I guess, coming out onto steps here, and I think it's really crucial for both of these teams to get the pick of side. I don't know who got the fastest cap, or the fastest win rather, because obviously the fastest win gets to choose the side here in the tiebreaker, but I think that's going to be pretty important heading onto steps here.
Yep.
So whichever side can get on the defense, which we both saw them picking up reasonably easily on steps there as well, should probably pick up the battle. Before we get into that though, we'll head back onto Ghost Town and find the top damage dealers for that one. Got SP up there. Bat chats. Both the bat chats from Meltdown were pretty obviously the two tanks that really did the work for them.
Yeah. 100% on both sides, on both the attack and the defense there. So, got SP up the top with 3.2k damage. He's got to be happy, but Till Matil, honestly, in that WZ1 limit, he was a champion for B Gaming. He was put on the cap. He out-traded an IS4. That was poking him and dealt 3k damage in tier 19. So it's obviously that WZ111.
T4, did he really only do 10 damage?
That's not good if he did.
No. That's really not good if he did. Because he got all 4 shots of his clip off. You can see his fight off 5, but in that brawl, he got 4 shots off. And if he only did 10 damage, well, I think we know why B Gaming might have lost that brawl.
Exactly. You know how I said the T54A1 was in like a good position? It was a great tank.
Yeah.
I still hate it. I still think it's bad. Like, I'm sorry. But look at that. Like, that was, I was giving it, the light of day there because it was in the perfect spot to guard against the bat chat flank. Then it deals 400 damage when it's in the perfect spot to guard against a bat chat flank. It's like, what more do you want? Something like even a tier 9 bat chat or another WZ or just something else apart from that. A T50.
Well, no. It wasn't the case for B Gaming. We sort of we kind of liked that setup that they did have, to be honest, going out there on Ghost Town, but it didn't work out too well. And now they're obviously going to have to set their sights here on steps. And, like I said, I think the defensive side here is going to be crucial. Whichever side gets that is going to probably be able to pick up the victory for me. I did call B Gaming.
You did call B Gaming, yeah. I did call Meltdown, so we're at a bit of an impasse here. A bit at odds.
But I will be prepared to change my decision if Meltdown gets on the defensive side. Hey, you're the one that always changes, not me. I usually stick to my guns, but this one, it's so close.
To be fair, I did call 5-3 to Meltdown, so that's not
already
really
out
hurting.
here.
I said maybe 5-4 though, so I kind of covered myself on that
well,
one.
Maybe Meltdown could win, or maybe B Gaming could win. So there you go. My prediction's always right.
There you go.
Easy peasy.
So moral of the story: don't listen to Elfish Guy if you want good predictions, guys. I think, but definitely listen to me because I've got 100% of my predictions right so far today.
Apart from this one.
I said maybe 5-4, and it is going to be 5-4. Meltdown are going to win this, and I'm going to be 100% right still. So, yeah.
Are you going to change your decision if I tell you B Gaming picked defense?
Nope.
Okay. Well, that's what happened.
Sticking to my guns.
B Gaming did pick defense, and I'm also sticking to my guns because I picked B Gaming, and now that I know they're on the defense, I'm very much thinking that they should be able to pull this one off.
No, not going to be able to.
Okay.
No chance. See you later.
Well, they looked good on the defensive side when we saw them on steps during the regular stages of.
Well, they
this
did,
match.
but it's a tiebreaker.
But like, I mean, to be fair, that gives Meltdown time to, I guess, figure out what B Gaming did. You know, maybe counter-strat that a little bit. So it's not over, that's for sure. Although,
No.
I mean, I think in general, even if B Gaming do pull this off in the tiebreak, I think they're going to be a bit disappointed that they let Meltdown get back into the tiebreaker because
Well, exactly.
to let Meltdown get that extra point, it's going to make it so much more difficult for B Gaming to catch up to them now.
Every point here counts,
Yeah.
every single point. So when B Gaming here, even if they do win, they only get 2 points. So 2 instead of 3, they are not going to be too happy with themselves. So, because and Meltdown here as well, like they've got to be pretty happy because 1 point it just sends them a little bit further up in position 2, a little bit closer to being completely safe for the qualifications into our season 1 finals.
I'm glad that we got into steps though.
Yeah.
As our tiebreaker. I think it's an interesting map for both of these teams to watch both of them play it on again. So I'm looking forward to our tiebreaker coming out here. It's going to be close.
Close, very, very close indeed. Well, we'll have to wait and see what tanks these guys pick on steps. Of course, I'm thinking probably B Gaming going to be going standard because they're on their preferred side. They've got no reason to change it up.
Do they have
so
an
to speak.
artillery on the defense?
No, it's on the attack, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I don't think we're going to see an artillery coming out again.
You say that, but I wouldn't mind seeing Meltdown pick an RD on the attack,
Right.
like a Lorraine or something. I mean,
they don't tend to pick the artillery all that much, though.
No, not very often. But I mean, they've got to take out B Gaming steps defense. So I mean, something might be needed to break through that one, I guess. And I mean, if it is going to be one tank, it might be an artillery piece. Maybe even if we're really thinking about crazy tanks here, Jordan, then it could even be something like a tier 10 arty.
Yeah. I don't think so, though. I don't think
Probably
they commit
not.
that hard.
I honestly, that moment when we saw the tier 10 arty pick this season,
that was on Mines.
Actually, we saw it twice.
Mines and Muravenka.
Yep.
Yeah. No, look, I don't think it's going to come out on steps.
No, probably not.
Because if you were to pick artillery here on steps, you can be fairly certain that you're going to be going up against a lot of bat chats, a couple of 113s, maybe. The heaviest tank you're probably going to see is probably maybe like a T125. And in that case, your M4043 for those sort of, one shots, it's going to be enough.
Yeah,
you don't really need the tier
exactly.
10 for that sort of a situation. So I think they're going to be content if they pick an artillery for an M4043 or a Lorraine. But knowing Meltdown, to me, they don't feel like a team that's going to default back to an artillery here. I think they're going to go relatively standard. Probably a lot of bat chats. Maybe a couple of 113s. But I think apart from that, it's not going to be too crazy at all.
Yeah, the 113 has been just on the rise and rise this season. In our season, it's been going up and up. All these teams picking it now. I remember at the start of the season, seeing a 113 was maybe not uncommon.
At the start of the season, we saw a lot more FE215Bs. And, like you said, now we're seeing a lot more 113s. But I think, to be fair, I feel like at the start of the season, we were seeing Himmelsdorf quite a lot more. But now it seems to have fallen off a little bit. It's still getting picked quite a lot, and we're still seeing it a fair bit. But I feel like we're seeing a lot more steps, a lot more Muravenka, a bit more Cliff as well. So obviously that's going to lead to a bit of a rise in the 113s too.
A little bit less Ghost Town as well.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of towards the end. Yeah, no, definitely. I think so as well. So I think those 113s there really are doing a lot of work. Of course, 113, for those that don't know, is a Chinese tier 10 heavy tank, but of course it does play a lot like a medium, and I think that's sort of why these teams like it. Obviously it's not a main battle tank, it's a heavy tank, but it's got some sort of characteristics of an MBT in the way that it's fast, it's still got armor, it's got a good gun, very versatile, jack of all trades sort of tank. So that's why we see these teams pick it quite often.
So I guess looking back, at this matchup, to give you a bit of an indication as to how close these two teams are at the moment, 97 games played overall by B Gaming. They have a 64% win rate. 94 games played by Meltdown. They have a 63% win rate. So they're
There you
almost
go.
as close as they can get. But it does look like it's time to head here into the tiebreaker. And, well, as we expected, this game was going to be close, and it doesn't get much closer than a tiebreaker. And having a look at the tank lineups, there's nothing too crazy coming out there from Meltdown. Like we said, a few bad chats, a 113. The Object 140 is coming out.
Yeah.
But really, both teams almost mirroring each other. The only difference, the Object 430 there for B Gaming.
Yeah, Object 430. And from memory, our Object 430 didn't have the best win rate so far this season. I think it's actually sitting on something like the 40% mark
Yeah.
from memory. And there's a few reasons for that. But look, if you can get an Object 430 to stay alive for long enough, then it's going to put out a lot of damage. That much is for certain. But yeah, two standard tank lineups, nothing too crazy on either side. Lots of mobility, of course. That's what we like to see on steps. And lots of options for B Gaming on the defense to play with. You know, they could go for an early rail yard push if they wanted. Meltdown again, probably just going to be playing this one a little bit more standard.
Well, I think the key for Meltdown is probably don't head towards that 2 flag. Very often we'll see Tiltil boosting up onto that onto the side there. Or B Gaming up onto the boost. And I think, you know, if Meltdown really start to pressure that 2 flag, he is going to have a big impact on the game. And it does look like Tiltil is going to go for that boost. And generally speaking, we see him get it on the first try as well. So should see him up there very shortly. But regardless, I'd say the 1 flag is the way to go for Meltdown.
Yep, and it looks like Tiltil has just made his way up to the boost. So he's going to be crawling his way up there. And Pang going to be heading towards the 1 flag as well. We've got Dukion and got SP heading towards there. Pang just scouting stuff out at the moment.
This is pretty much exactly how it played out. I feel like I'm watching the replay,
Actually,
right?
legitimately, he did that exact same thing.
Yeah.
He did the blind fire as well.
Yeah. And then as a result, Meltdown aware now that B Gaming don't really have anyone on the northern side of those tracks here, and they can start to move forward here in towards that 1 flag. Now remember, Meltdown did actually get onto that 1 flag okay, but B Gaming, they had that very strong rotate through the southern end of the map, which was, you know, it really caught Meltdown off guard. This time though, now that Meltdown know that's a possibility, they shouldn't get caught off guard by that, and that was a big part in what B Gaming was able to, or how B Gaming was able to find a victory here on their defensive side of steps. So if Meltdown can adapt to that, then definitely they're not in a bad spot here. Now that they've got control of that 1 flag.
Yep.
And look, they have done that as well. Path and Advicestone are holding a little bit more forward down towards that southern end of the map. So B Gaming, that rotate is probably not on the cards here.
Yeah, so that's a good adaptation there by Meltdown. Leaving Path and Advicestone nice and low. Nice and low down that 1 spawn there. But we do still see B Gaming. They don't know that Path and Advicestone are down there, so they're going to be sending a couple of tanks to try and get the rotate around. I think that's 4. So they sent 5 last time, but 4 should still be enough to do it. And those bat chats and count power in the Object 140. So the question is, will Vicestone actually go for these early shots, or will he just stay? Oh, yep.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm really not sure I'm a huge fan of B Gaming going for this same strategy once again. I don't think it works out. I don't think it works out twice in a row. I think Meltdown's good enough to adapt to it. B Gaming, there's 60 seconds left on the clock here, but there is a lot of pressure starting to build here on B Gaming. They've taken the first couple of shots. They really don't have that much map control, and they've got to get in and get that reset very quickly here.
Look, they're still going for it. They don't mind. You know, they've seen Meltdown there, but they're like, okay, well, we saw one of Meltdown's tanks here. Let's just, you know, bulk up our force. Let's go down the center with the full 5.
Yeah.
And actually, this is something a little bit different, going down the center, the dried riverbed there, and trying to get a few kind of
15
sneaky...
seconds. 15 seconds. Is anyone going to be able to get a reset here? Well, someone driving off the cap.
Yeah.
So, never mind. Still, I mean, 20 seconds here. The B Gaming guys should get in there, but now We're going to see Meltdown fall off that cap there. I would have liked to have seen what would have happened if we had have seen two guys on that cap for Meltdown. But B Gaming, their hand has been forced here, and they're sort of out of position a little bit now that they've made their way into this flag. And they're starting to take a little bit of damage. It's going to be Valiant taking a little bit of response.
No.
But look at this. Meltdown, they have certainly adapted to the way B Gaming has played here. And you can see Taki's gone down straight away. Now the focus onto T4. He is under a lot of pressure as well. And I'm not so sure about this one, Alex, to be fair, for B Gaming. I think they might have, you know, played the fiddle the same way. Meltdown have really, really adapted to it well.
Yeah, there we go. So Meltdown looking very good. Firestone still alive on 32 HP. B Gaming there, they're just getting absolutely shredded with a 1.8 thousand HP advantage in favour of Meltdown, but suddenly they're turning it around a little bit, getting a few good shots, and they still haven't managed to take down any of Meltdown.
No, not yet at all. And there's a lot of low Meltdown players, but they're just not going down here. Kyung Power is going to fall for B Gaming, and finally we see a tank going down for Meltdown, but it's just not going to be enough here. Lod and Tomato JP finding themselves all of a sudden alone, 2 versus 6. Meltdown are going to win this.
There you go, Meltdown are going to be able to take this one out, and well, Lod there in that 113. Unfortunately, not going to be able to do anything against the 6 members of Meltdown that are still standing. So overall, look, Meltdown, they tried to adapt. They were able to. B Gaming, they tried the same strategy, and well, they should have adapted.
They definitely should have adapted there. And as they say, history repeats itself. 5-4 once again coming out in the favor of Meltdown here, picking up the victory over B Gaming in a very close battle.
Called it.
Yeah, well, you called 5-3.
I called it.
Anyway, good stuff for Meltdown. They put themselves up a little bit higher above B Gaming, and their main threat was B Gaming. To be able to get that extra point above them, that's always going to help.
Exactly, and that extra point, I think the only disappointing thing for Meltdown there is that they would have really liked to have had, you know, like a 5-3, so that they got 3 points instead of 2, but at the end of the day, still can't complain with a win.
No, definitely can't complain with being able to bring it back as well from the deficit that they were at. B Gaming going to be very disappointed about that one. That's actually their second tie of this week, or tiebreaker of this week, which they've lost. The last one was against EL Gaming, so...
Yeah, and look, this push here, that was why we don't see many river pushes on steps, because as soon as if you're peeking out from the river onto a team that's set up in defensive positions around the rocks, around the 1 flag, you are never going to win that. You are peeking out right into the open. There is no cover around there. You know, and you just get completely blown up. It's like, you know, it's like D-Day. It's like Normandy beaches, you know, everyone running out while Meltdown are behind the rocks, you know, their little pillboxes behind there, and just tearing them to shreds.
Overall, I think B Gaming have to go back to the drawing board there for their steps defense. They need to have a little bit more in the strat book, to be fair. Like, you can't rely on the same strategy every time, and they did that twice. Meltdown, aware of what was going to be happening, were able to take advantage of it. I don't know. It's so hard to get resets onto that flag unless you've got control of the southern end of the map. So I can understand why B Gaming wanted to go for that, but you know, something had to be a little bit different there.
Yeah, no, very, very tricky. And look, I think maybe if B Gaming had just honestly even tried a rail push, and, you know, gone right over the rails to you know, push on towards that 1 flag instead of going down the bottom, something like that. Look, there's no guarantee that it would have worked. It still would have had to, you know, been a lot of other elements in place for it to have worked, but something like that, rather than doing the exact same thing that I did, you know, 30 minutes ago, might have been better. Yeah,
exactly. And overall, I think B Gaming is going to be really disappointed that they let Meltdown get back into that one. I mean, if we have a look at the post-battle stats from steps there, I think we're going to see really not all that much to talk about for B Gaming. They only have a couple of players up there, and well, the Object 140s this time doing a good job for Meltdown.
Yeah, up there on the top of the scoreboard, nearly 3,000 damage. And we can see Valiant there in that 113 with 1,400. So nothing really too crazy on the scoreboard. Of course, B Gaming only with 2 members in the top 7. It's a bit of a telling tale. Tomato JP, though, has still managed to do a bit of work in the bat chat. Can't complain about that. But down the bottom, in places 8th to 14th, we can see there Till Matil. He was a bit of a champion there in the RU251. 17 shots, 1172 damage. And
Object 430. T4.
Object 430. I don't know, there's just something about that tank that does not work.
Yeah, and Taki, of course, he got popped straight away there by Meltdown.
Yeah.
A very significant part as to why they won that battle as well. He did no damage in the Bat Chat 25T, and that's definitely not where you want to be. So overall, pretty good focus fire from Meltdown as well, as of course the good adaptation to the strategy that B Gaming were pulling out there. So Meltdown pick it up 5-4, and put themselves just a tiny little bit above B Gaming, who now have quite a job ahead of them if they're going to try and catch Meltdown.
Well, that's the issue, isn't it? That is the issue for B Gaming. I'm not entirely sure what the mathematics behind it is, how many they need to win, how many Meltdown need to lose, etc. But it's going to be tricky.
Yeah, it definitely is going to be tricky, and we'll have to find out throughout the rest of the week and how things go for them tomorrow and next week. But for now, we're going to head to a quick break. We do have another match, or another couple of matches coming up tonight. Next match is going to be Dark Wolves and Karen Tiger, so stay tuned. In about 10 minutes, we'll be back with that one.